Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Rhovanion campaign. Thrymfeld has fallen. We had this under siege. They led a desultory sally and we defeated them pretty handily. It wasn't really a battle that I figured that was worth showing. So we basically almost timed it out. And during that time we did some building and some training essentially. We especially beefed up our presence around Dale because we see that the faction of Dale in exile over here in the west has been making another push in our general direction. So we've got some more longbowmen and some mercenary types ready under the last remaining family member in the area. And then we also have some more guys being trained in the city or retrained from various places. And so I think we might be ready to take the fight towards them. Let's see if we have any agents in the area to get a better look at the army composition. Yeah, so a couple of nobles, some spearmen, 2 bowmen. Really not concerned that much about it. I think what I'll do, though, is set up, like, right here and see if we can get an ambush. I think that would be good. They don't have too much cav, so I think we can handle it. See if we can even do that. And I think that should be fine. Elsewhere, we've just been holding our own. I've observed that Northrune has clustered its forces right around the capital of Fornhood. That's kind of a good sign in the sense that it doesn't look like they're making ready to attack us. If they were, they would be moving those guys to the border, I think. So that doesn't seem to be the case. It means that we do have time to kind of finish up our other business and get troops where we want them, at least ideally. And what I'd like to do also is get training going. Thordram has 3 seasons before we can get the Outland Dominion built. And Tham, we have just constructed the mustering field. And so now we want to go for the hosting halls. We're going to be dipping into our savings a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. Elsewhere, we see that the siege of Lug is ongoing after a few failed attempts, I believe, by Harad to take it. They're trying again. And they keep failing to hold Akarn, which is also fine. Here we've got 3 more seasons before Rune is going to fall. Again, we don't want that to happen. So in this episode, I have to try very hard not to lose sight of that. And in a couple of turns, see if they would be interested in Protectorate status. Now, I am going to be spending a bunch of cash on this. But the nice thing about hosting halls is that it's going to get me these units, but most importantly, the Vassal Axemen. That'll be nice to have in the area. We've got plenty of population in Tham to train things out of, and so it'll be good to have some more robust infantry to send against what we're going to be fighting in Northrune. So within 7 seasons, we'll have that ready to go, and of course we have other units that we can use to fight. And I think by sending like this army with supports, to start taking out some of these stacks, I think would be in a pretty good position. We are also sending some of reinforcements to get retrained in Belligant from the various different theaters, and we now have our 2 units of Dorwinian Watch trained in Belligant over here with this force, which is going to head back into the west to face off against the Beornings. With these 3 retainer longbowmen, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 archer units, I guess, and a bunch of other odds and ends. But we do have a bit more of a robust line thanks to these Dorwinian Watch. So I think that'll be useful in the fighting that's to come. Here is a big army headed our way. We, of course, defeated a large one fairly recently. So I think what we want to do is push this army into the woods. And just try to stop them from coming through the trees at us. Now that we've got another basically full stack at Thrymfeld, I think we're in a decent position to do that. We'll get started on provincial pacification there, lower the taxes, train up an emissary. Population here is actually quite decent. And so I'm thinking we may not need much of a garrison. Let's see what we can get away with in terms of that. Well, let's go with a unit of foresters, and that'll get us our blue face. All right, very good. It might be worth getting a watchtower right about here. I don't want to trespass on Adunabar's territory, but if we can get that somewhere down in this area, that'll keep an eye on mid-deeping and also potentially on any troops that might be coming through the woods, although you never know because they can use the trees as cover, of course. So now that we're, you know, having spent a bunch of money, let's end the season. Okay, we're getting bribed again by the elves. I'm going to say no to that. Some other stuff I observed between episodes here is that, as you would expect, the Reunited Kingdom is kicked out of Arnor, essentially. It's down to Adunabar and Tharbad. Interestingly, Tharbad has taken Fornost, but Adunabar still has Bree and Numenas. So Tharbad is doing quite well, although they just lost the Southgard fort to Dunland. So I'll be very interested to see how Dunland is going to progress. It looks like they're going to be just rolling up into that part of the world. Now, the problem with that is this is going to be potentially difficult territory for Dunland to hold, I think. So they may not proceed terribly well. It does look like they keep trying to get different factions as a protectorate, but because they're allied with other factions that they're at war with, they keep losing that, so it doesn't work too well. Although I do see now that, oh yeah, we've got some... Bucklebury is under siege by Adunabar, I guess. So, yeah, they're going to be getting all of that sweet, sweet loot from the Shire, which, as if you don't know, is an incredibly lucrative province if you can get up there and convert the population. I really don't know why the Rohan is still around. It's just kind of baffling. And in fact, they took back the Wold. Yes, wow. Secrecy is assured. Secrecy is assured. Okay, it looks like there was either a bribery or a revolt. But that's very interesting. Good for them. I'm happy with that. It'll keep Adunabar busy. And theoretically off my back. In Gondor, we do have confirmation that Western Gondor has completely fallen to Dunland. They've taken Pinnath-Gellan, and they've taken the Langstrand, which is, I can't remember the name of the settlement, Anfalis. So they've taken that, and they've got an army that looks like it's pointed towards really the breadbasket and the heartland of Gondor. Last I saw, Adunabar had Pelargir under siege. It looks like that has now fallen to Adunabar. And I imagine Linhir has fallen. Oh, no, I guess not. But may fall very quickly. And so the Reunited Kingdom is basically down to Belfalis, essentially. So it's dark days for them. All right, for us, though, more just maneuvering, getting our guys into position. We're screening for those enemy armies. Let's bring him back here. Okay, yeah, there's the big stack. Okay. Still got some time, but there's an army down here, so we'll have to watch for that. But as we move through the woods here, we'll be drawing the Beornings' attention, which will be good. Take Oldford. That'll be nice because that'll probably take the pressure off of this front entirely. And we'll see what we can do there. Let's get these guys down. And do we want to go for a watchtower? Yeah, we got all kinds of money.
Prepare to ambush. Move out. Ready to ambush. Forward. Ambush in place.
Right down here, I think.
Ready to ambush. Build tower.
Now we technically don't need the emissary there. I just move him down here for a little bit of extra line of sight and just to keep him within range. But now we've got basically a free stack. I mean, you know, in another sense, we don't because we want to keep some other troops to help Rhovanost, though we have also been beefing up this garrison. So basically, if war with Adunabar does come, or if we decide that it is time, we could make a pretty impressive dent in them fairly quickly, I'm thinking. You know, another thing. Let's get another scout. We've already got one scout inside here. Let's get another one and send him into the west. Because I really want to keep an eye on Adunabar here. I just want to make sure that they don't feel too strong. They've got geez, they've got revolts happening here. If this falls, I may consider just going to war with the Dunabar, capturing mid-deeping because we need it for our victory conditions, and then going like mid-deeping Lathron, and then maybe getting into Woldburg and you know, I don't know. I would like to get the horse archers basically that you can get by taking territory from Rohan. I'd like for that to happen. So over here, yeah, we've got some more forces. Let's see. What do we want in this stack to make it even more threatening? I guess maybe some melee troops. I think that would be good. If we bring them up here. And now we've got them together, and if they want to attack Hjorth, we can be ready to hit them. Alright, next season is when we're going to try Rune for Protectorate status. So at the beginning of this turn, I've got to take a look at that. Alright, we're besieged at Holt. That's fine. Alright, Rune. Okay. Don't forget Rune. We've got our scout at Tham. Alright, what was I doing with you? We were heading down here. Erebos has control posts. That's good. I just wanted, you know, some potential training here. Now we can get those warband guys. Holt has been besieged, and Hjorth has been besieged. All right. Well, that has put a bit of a crimp in our income. All right, and now let's try this. Rune will give you everything if you will let us protect you. And they're going to say no. Well, we'll try this again. Actually, you know, I'm not even going to build rams because there's no scenario in which I'm going to assault Amron Magor. Okay, Lug once again has withstood Haradrian aggression. Good for them. Means one less thing for us to worry about. And here we're one more season for Outland Dominion. That's very nice. So we've got to decide about Holt and about Hjorth. So, I mean, there's really not much of a decision to make. We're going to have to attack. And this is 3 family members. This is a significant chunk of their army. This is about half of their armed forces here coming to attack us. They've got some Longwomen of Dale, which are basically what we have, or similar anyway. But we've got more of them. We've definitely got more ranged guys, so let's go to it. So this time we don't have quite so many Dale Longwomen mercenaries to throw into the front lines. So instead I think I'll use these Rhovanion foresters. They can be pretty effective too. The other thing is we've got a lot more cavalry to deal with, or not a lot more, but we've got better cavalry to deal with in the enemy's ranks because they have 3 family members, I believe. So we'll have to watch out for that. And fortunately, we've got some more infantry this time. It's not great, but it is something. We've got 2 of these Barding Watch levies. I think I'll do 1 on each side here. Actually, we've also got... oh, those are the militia levies. We've got some swordsmen as well, and some Rhovanion axemen. Okay, so again, not much. But enough to potentially help. In terms of Cav, we've got March Wardens and a family member. Now, he's old. He's probably not going to be very good in melee, so we have to watch out for him. And the enemy's probably going to be up on the hill.
Reinforcements
no,
have
they're not.
arrived, but are they in time to take part in the battle?
This lets us get up the hill a bit, but it really doesn't help that much because we got these woods to get through.
Units, forward!
All right, we're in position now, although you can't really see, and the enemy's sending up some guys, some Longbowmen of Dale. They're bearing the brunt of all of our arrows. I think we should have them wiped out. We've also got some Woodman bows, a squishier target, and another unit of Longbowmen. Here's their 3 bodyguard units. Again, we're going to have to pay most attention to them. But, you know, the woods are actually going to help us out a little bit, perhaps, here. So let's move our men just a tiny bit forward. All right, that's good. Cut them down by about half there, or actually more. And they're heading for the hills. Wonderful. I'm just going to let them go, and we'll get back to the campaign map. And interestingly, they're retreating onto Dwarven territory. Where are they even going? Okay, just back to Erebor. That could be a problem. And we've got spies. We've got spies. Again, you know, 70% unrest. That's some elvish trickery around here. Let's get some guys in the settlement and get that up. 65%. Yeah, there we go. So not very good. We didn't wipe them out, of course, as much as I would like. You know, I guess what we can do is we can take this moment to just head over into the west. Scare them a bit, right? Like, let's see if they now follow us, because we're moving towards their territory. And what I would kind of love to do is threaten Framsburg here, defeat their field armies, and just see what happens. Again, we're not going to get them as a protectorate, or if we do, we won't get them for long because they have this alliance with the dwarves. We could eliminate Dale, I guess. We could take Framsburg for ourselves. This has some dangers in that we are going to be right next to potentially a Dunabar here. Oh, it looks like they did get Gundabad. Okay. So they took that for themselves. So we could take Framsburg and just leave them with this useless fort. That might not be the worst thing in the world, actually. Framsburg would connect nicely with Hjorth and would give us command over the head of the Anduin Valley region. And with our troops moving in from the west, that'd be another great grab. Get that Beorning capital there in Oldford. But first we got to decide about this. I really, you know, part of me doesn't want to bother defending Holt any longer. We do have these guys, though, and I think this force can deal with it. And even if they can't, let's see what where that big army is. Yeah, right there. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to press on into Beorning territory here, because I think that's more important than saving Holt, which I haven't even bothered to build anything in, right? We haven't even bothered to do the homeland thing. This is just a 400-person logging village, essentially, and it's not even up to snuff in terms of logging. We do have carpenters here, but not much else. So what we'll do is we will reinforce it. If Holt falls, it falls. But I have a feeling this army may head back if it sees us moving into their territory. So that's what we're going to do there. All right, we got nine more turns before we have to worry about ruin falling. again, we could just be doing this for the rest of the campaign. So if this never works, at least we've got Rhûn down here bottled up, getting weaker and weaker. Their family members could die off. I've seen it happen. And so the faction could get eliminated that way, and at which point we could safely take the settlement without having to worry about a horde. So that's another thing to consider. The reason I've got all these guys in Yodor, by the way, is, again, due to spies. I took them out a little while ago, and we had ridiculous amounts of unrest. But yeah, we got a blue face there now, but this is kind of why feels like a good reason to leave your men around here so they can defend the settlements if they happen to be attacked, but also just to support in terms of public order. All right, I think we will end the season there, sending our scout back into Gondor. Great. Thordram has finished Outland Dominion, and Thrimfeld has finished Provincial Pacification. Now, this is unfortunately an Outland for us as well. It's not going to bring in much at all in terms of income. In terms of recruitment, yeah, it's really not spectacular either. But, you know, it's one of those things. You do depend on getting these dominions built, so this seems like a safe place to do it in a way because we're so close to our home territory. The culture penalty is not going to be bad, whereas someplace like this, you know, I'm just a little more worried. Okay. It looks like they've dealt with their unrest, but let's see if we can do something about that. Oh, and we lost a spy. Dang, 93%. Well, we'll get another one going. And we're losing money. Or we're not making very much. I wonder why that is. We're just these fantastic swings in income. I am not sure what's going on. It can't be because Holt is under siege. You know, this is really not an important part of my economy. Oh, okay. It's because I literally just queued up a huge building. That's why. All right.
Captain. Your Honor.
Let's just do some screening with the scout here.
Sir.
Bring the reinforcing army up.
Forward. Move depleted, sir. Orders.
2 more seasons. It's probably not going to be there in time to save it. Again, we're just going to let that fall, essentially.
Captain.
But, bring this guy over here, and now we're on enemy territory, I think. Yeah, because we can't construct a watchtower. We could build a camp, which would be kind of funny. We could just basically have a place to put a single unit to prevent them from going through the woods. But I don't think it's necessary as we move into the territory with an eye to taking their settlements. What's going to happen instead is...
Prepare for battle. Victory!
All right, let's get on their territory. Is that they're going to follow us, essentially?
Captain. Onward. No more
Hey, some more mercenaries. Let's recruit them. And that still gives us enough cash. All right, Lug is under siege again. And I see a force of Adunabar right north of Belfalis. Oh, geez. Yeah. Dunland is definitely rolling up Gondor, which is just awesome. I'm so happy for them. Not doing as well at taking Tharbad out, although they did take Swanfleet.
Yes, master.
They're allied with Adunabar. So again, you know, if I could get this place to rebel, that would be a good time to attack Adunabar, I think, because I could quickly grab these 2 settlements without fear of reprisal, or at least this. And they're a bit on the back foot with regard to Rohan at the moment, so that would also be nice. And yeah, we're attacked. We're not going to be able to hold this at all. This is the faction heir, along with some Beorning axemen, a bunch of dogs. We'll just auto-resolve that, and we're going to lose. Okay, we've got an ambush, but they are going to be preparing for battle, which means that they're going to be setting up, and we're going to be attacking them. I think that's good. They've got no ranged, so let's go ahead and fight this, actually. All right, so again, this is a typical battle. They may be up here on the high ground, which would be good because it's much more open. We've got some Rhovanion watch to help out with the cavalry. Let's take a look at them. Very, very nice. Again, this is a unit that I don't think I've ever seen. I guess I've never bothered to train that high in Beligant when I've captured it as Rhovanion before, which seems odd. But let's get our ranged guys all set up. We want our retainer longbowmen to be protected. We've got 4 units of them. We've got a couple of units of the more defensively oriented longbowmen mercenaries. Got some other mercenary archers here. And we've got some, well, some not very strong units of Rhovanion foresters. Okay. Let's see. I think we will go something like 1 on each flank. I guess the skirmishers can be here to just kind of screen for the longbows as well. Okay. And we'll set up way over here on the edge. Thinking that's where they'll be. All right, they're more in the woods, but again, I think they're going to be pretty much waiting for us because they've got no answer to our arrows. So if I remember correctly, what the AI usually does in this type of scenario would be to kind of wait, send a couple of units out at your skirmish line, and then go back. Now, that may be different here because they've got cavalry and, you know, they may be more aggressive with those units. All right, well, let's get right in the woods, I guess. Not quite close enough to shoot. There we go. All right, we're hitting the Beorning Axemen with one of our longbowmen, so I'll just keep doing this. We're incidentally getting a few woodman axes, I think, as well. But this is a great unit to eliminate. They are a fear-causing unit. And as they rush up towards us, they're just going to get more and more arrows. So I would expect that they would probably rout before they reach our lines. And all they've got in terms of other good stuff, I think, is cav, really. We've got our Rhovanion watch here hiding, just waiting for those melee units to get close. Then they'll jump up and probably frighten them in the process. There we go. Feeling outnumbered by enemies. I imagine these guys are going to be routing pretty soon, although they are coming on with, you know, 3 units as opposed to just 1. But yeah, they're going to be routing pretty quick. Yeah, no family members here, which is a bit of a shame. It would be nice to take out a general or two. Okay. Yeah, just a lot of axemen. And not much else. But they're not retreating yet, so this is a good sign. We can eliminate this stack and then on our turn move further into the woods. Nope, there they go. Well, they're going to withdraw into the woods, so that'll be just fine. Actually got some melee happening over here. Let's help that along with our riders. We'll just charge them through the back, I guess. We're winning easily. This is, again, like a tier 3 unit versus a tier 1 unit. And I would think these guys are going to rout pretty quickly on contact with our cav, who did take a few losses in that charge. Certainly not the best charge we could have done, but I thought it would be enough to break them. There they go. Alright, now we want everybody to stop here because we're just going to let the archers do their thing and try to avoid friendly fire as these guys withdraw. Let's bring our family member and some unengaged cav over here. We can see about, you know, taking out some of these other... Whoops. Some of these other units of axemen and so on. We've only killed half of them at this point. There's some more over here. We'll just do as much damage as we can before they rout off the field, which is going to be pretty quickly, actually. Alright, I think that'll be enough. Yeah, we'll just end the battle there. And they still got 400 plus units remaining, but we did very well in terms of not taking many losses. So that's, okay, the question now is, since we don't have Holt anymore, is that army going to withdraw towards Holt? Probably.
Victory!
We have no way of knowing. But you know what? That's fine. We've got another army approaching Holt. Yeah, so Yodor back to 55%. 65% unrest. Again, we're dealing with a spy in here. Okay, so this army is interestingly moving towards Yodor, towards the fort of Karnan, which the ruler is still alive. We lost our noble in Yathin-Ra, but we've got him coming up. Actually, I don't know that we want him here as the governor. I think we can get rid of that. He is what? He is youthful. So he can be just another family member, I guess. You know what? Maybe we'll use him up here because we're having a lot of problems with Dale lately. And we can use him to lead the forces around Yodor. Now, Yodor could come under siege. I think would be okay. Okay, yeah, making over 10,000. Very good. So, let's see, this is the army that we beat away from Hjorth, and they're not falling for it. They're not You're not coming towards Framsburg. You know what? I think what I may risk is going right over here. To put Framsburg under siege. Let's do that. We're almost certain to be attacked. But, you know, I think we could win that battle. The only concern is, as usual, with me, paranoia about a game crash, particularly late in the campaign, but I think we can risk it anyway. Let's see. What do we want over here? I think another spearman unit might be nice. And let's see where that big army went. I don't know. So here's what I'll do. I'll take a couple of cavalry out of the formation. We will grab a couple of mercenary axemen. I think this is the army that we just beat. Aha! Taken completely by surprise. No time to prepare for the attack. Alright. Well. This is a big force. So I'm glad we found it this way, I guess. We've got 3 family members here. It's like 3 archers. 3 dogs. 3 cav. 1 unit of Beorning axemen. Our big army has a lot more stuff. So I think what we can do, if memory serves, is we can just fight this battle, but then withdraw on the battle map. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But we can at least give that a shot, and if we can't, we can see what is to be done about getting... yeah, okay, it's an ambush. Yeah, we can withdraw. So, can we withdraw quickly enough, though? Well, there are some riders coming after us. And I think that guy's going to get away, so let's just follow him. And if I can, I'd like to preserve this cav. We're going to lose some men to arrows here. These are mercenary units. We can merge them together. Yeah, it's weird that they let you withdraw from an ambush when you can't on the campaign map. So probably an oversight. It's probably a bit of an exploit for me to try to do this. And in fact, I feel a bit bad because this is one of those rare instances where the AI actually set up in a proper ambush formation. Typically, when you get ambushed, the AI is just all grouped up on one side of the map, not even particularly close to where you start. So this felt like a real ambush, but now we're just going to get out. So sorry, guys. Very anticlimactic. Yeah, it's a clear defeat, but I think we preserved some of our cav. All right, and we're going to go way back over here. So what that tells me is that there are no other forces really close to where we are. So I'm going to get right here. I'm not even going to get close enough, closer than that, because last time that's how we got ambushed. We just got in their zone of control, and that counted. So we're going to set up right here, and they're probably going to attack us next turn. I don't know if we're going to be able to ambush them, but possibly. I'm going to put Holt under siege, and we'll wait around for a couple of turns, maybe. I'd like to get these guys maybe retrained. Well, let's group them up with this army, and then we'll see about retraining. In Burn, we can't train anything, but in Arab Gobel, we can get another unit of cav, so let's do that. And in Rathwin, we can recruit like tier 1 stuff, so well, let's wait. Let's work up the population a little bit more. We'll wait for that. Then we get another scout. that another 93% success chance? Yeah, but you know what? Let's give it a shot. I feel like I can afford to keep sending scouts to potentially die over there. All right, so Thordram finished its Dominion building, so we've got plenty of money to get going on control posts. And this will mean we can leave the settlement and just feel good about always being able to train something out of there that can just serve as a skeleton garrison and get replaced. And yes, we are attacked by a host of the Kingdom of Dale. So I think what we'll do, folks, is we will use this as an end point for the episode. When we come back, we'll fight this battle and see how it all works out for us. We could potentially get Framsburg here, which would be a very nice grab, and position us very well in the Anduin region, assuming that we can punch through the Beornings defenses and get to Oldford. But I think that's, again, a good point to stop for now. Thank you very much for joining me in this episode, and I hope you'll stick around for the next one. Until then, take care.